Let's go! DJ Budget King. Hey, everybody, strike a pose. Strike a pose. Strike a pose.
Greg
Get the sillies out.
Greg and I are totally doing it along with you.
Get the sillies out.
Strike a pose. This is the First Issue Club podcast, where each and every week we cover the number ones, because number ones are a great way to get you into comic books. And by covering number ones, we cover the news, we cover all the greats, the highs, the lows. If you want to know what's happening every single week in comic books, you get your ass down to the First Issue Club podcast, and that's where it will happen.
You were starting to turn blue. I'm glad you got a breath in.
Yeah, take a
at the
breath,
end
big
there.
guy. You are excited.
I am pumped. I'm pumped to be here, pumped to be talking about comics, and specifically this week we're going to be talking about The Silver Coin, Geiger, and Project Patron.
Heard of him?
I hope so.
We read them.
I bet your ass you've heard of him. In the club this week, we've got me, Budget King.
Mike D?
And Greg,
That's the intro. We did the intro. Now we
Check.
gotta do the episode.
we have a little checklist. That box is now filled. Moving on.
You know, Silver Coin. Just to tell everybody, it's the dream team. It will be the dream team of comics.
Dream teams, because it's rotating.
Yes, but in theory, if you thought of the whole of all of it, Ed Brisson, Jeff Lemire, Kelly Thompson, and Chip Zdarsky today, can you get any better in comic book writing than that team?
You can't.
We got to be clear. All these people didn't write one comic book together. They're going to write subsequent issues.
Yes.
Well, no, it was a round robin. Everyone chose a word, and so all these 6 people were in one room. Then the man went.
It's still one comic series. You're right. It's not one comic book. Today it's Chip Zdarsky's.
Yeah.
Who knows what it'll be next time?
Kelly Thompson.
You do know.
Well, since we're talking about it, we want to just get into.
Let's talk about a couple news things.
Okay.
Going first, and then we'll get into Silver Coin. I just wanted everybody up front to know we got a big book coming for you that we're going to talk about eventually. But before we get to that, there's something interesting about Daniel Cates.
So Daniel just finished his Venom run. Well, he will be finishing. 200 still has to come out.
Is that his last issue?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so
Wow.
him and Stegman are leaving.
Uh-huh.
But yesterday, Donny Cates teased that he's writing a new mystery Marvel book. And people are speculating many, many different things. Some people have said Moon Knight, which is incorrect because just today we found out that Jed MacKay is going to be penning Moon Knight.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I wanted to know, what do you guys want to see Donny Cates writing next?
On Marvel specifically.
On Marvel specifically. I mean, we've seen him do so much already. What hasn't he tackled that you think he would be great at?
I would love to see him do Silver Surfer ongoing.
That'd be good.
Because Silver Surfer hasn't had an ongoing since Dan Slott's run, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that's with Mike Allred, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that was a great run.
I'd like to see him take like kind of a B character,
Mm-hmm.
pull him up to prominency. Like Darkhawk might make sense because Darkhawk's in space and could interact with some of his Silver Surfer stuff.
I could totally see him doing Darkhawk. He's feeling his 90s vibes right now on crossover.
Yeah.
So he could be dipping back into those.
I think that's what he should do to kind of like do his like moonshot. Like be like, let me make this a thing.
No one really cares about this character. Let me just kind of get in there and kick around a little bit. I think they're going to give him a team book. I don't know what team. I wish it was Avengers. I think it'd be sweet. Jason Aaron's doing a pretty fun job right now. Whatever it is, it's going to be successful. I mean, the guy can write a book, and people clamor for any story he writes. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what it is. Just tell us already, Don.
I wonder if it'll be Star Wars. Like something that's not straight.
Oh, that'd be weird.
Yeah, straight Marvel.
Yeah.
It is Marvel.
Yeah, I know it is Marvel, but I mean like not. How do you? What's the word to differentiate between?
Not Marvel Universe.
Universe. Yeah. Okay. There we go. To follow up on one other thing that we had been covering, Mind Management snuck away from us as an NFT. We were not able to quite get our hands on it in
It
time.
sped away from us. Did you see the price tag that went for?
You're telling me you weren't gonna drop 5Gs on that?
$5,000.
It went for $5,000.
Oh my God.
What started out as a fun joke for us on the podcast quickly fizzled out as a reality.
Good job for Matt Kent.
Yeah.
Making 5Gs.
Yep.
Pay off his 98 Saturn that he drives.
Is that a diss?
He's savvy. He
Are we
doesn't
negging
spend his
Matt
money
Kent?
on frivolous things.
No, I'm thinking like he's smart. He's
That
like,
pre-owned Sonata will get him to where he needs to go.
yeah. Sorry, his 2016 Kia
He's an Optima sort of guy.
So that NFT went for way more money than we could have afforded, but I'm glad that there's mind management fans out there that want to own it. It's awesome.
Any word on whether or not those people who bought it are going to share it?
It is online. If you go search for it, it's been released.
You can already find it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they were good to their word.
They were. Yep. So whoever purchased it did release it to the public.
Cool.
Okay, heck yeah. I can't wait to read it.
I love all these people with just lots of money laying around right now.
Yeah, and like, do we even know? I don't even know if like a comic book fan even purchased this. Like, because NFTs are so in vogue right now.
Yeah, it might just be a bro.
Yeah, it could be just like a stock.
That's
stock
actually
bro.
that's actually a really good point. So, speaking of high dollar coinage, let's get into the silver coin on Image Comics.
Now that was a transition, everyone.
Unbelievable.
I almost didn't even see it happening. It was so good.
We've been working on it for weeks,
Yep.
and to see it come to fruition.
All those practices finally paying off. Haunting.
So we mentioned this comic book up at the top. This is a ongoing horror. Each book is a self-contained story, but all-star authors will be picking up every issue afterwards. So as we heard, Kelly Thompson will be next. Chip Zdarsky was on this one, and it follows the life of a coin that causes mayhem. A silver one, actually.
The life of a coin.
The life of a coin. That sounds like a Pixar film.
Yeah, I know. It's like that Happy Toaster movie.
Hi, I'm Coiny.
Speaking of, did you guys see the last Toy Story?
No.
Uh-uh.
I shed enough tears the one before the last
Yeah.
one, so I didn't need that kind of existential dread following me.
So in this one, there's like a fork character that gets created,
Sure.
and he's constantly trying to throw himself away,
Mm-hmm.
which is like, he's essentially trying to end his life. So it's like a suicide-prone toy.
Cool.
It gets pretty dark.
They'll give anything a soul.
Right. But anyway, Silver Coin.
Yes.
This horror book, it starts off with
I just want to say thanks for bringing the Toy Story thing to my attention.
I wanted you guys to know there's a weird ass suicide story running amok and nobody's calling them out on it. We have a horror book.
Yes.
Okay, it's called Silver Coin. This issue specifically is set in the 70s.
Yes, you're right. Right when disco was kicking off.
Everybody loves to hate on disco,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not that bad.
It's pretty bad.
I think you're wrong.
There are terrible aspects of every music genre through every decade.
Okay, I'll give you that.
I just don't like disco in general. You would consider ABBA disco, correct?
Yeah.
I love ABBA.
Okay.
They're so good.
ABBA's fantastic. That's about as far as my disco love will go.
I can't think of a disco song I hate or like, I guess.
I compare this to like you either listen to Korn or Christina Aguilera.
Okay.
In like the
Woodstock
early-
99?
Yeah, Woodstock 99 type of shit.
That's where that pit started.
This is the same sort of vibe we were in the 70s
Okay.
when there was a transition to music.
That's a great point. And it was also one of the first times when it's like subgenres were coming around.
Mhm.
So like they could be like, oh, this moment of like music or whatever.
Sure, yeah.
Because there was like bigger genres. Anyway, it's a guitar playing rock dude losing his edge and getting taken over by disco. But he finds a coin when his mummy leaves him. And this coin makes him into like a, selling your soul
Rock god.
to the devil
Yeah.
type of like rock god thing.
Yeah. I really identified with this character when it opens and it's a band playing a show and then they pan out to the bar and it's just a bartender being like, woo!
You guys rock!
Oh my gosh.
I was like, this was my life. I remember my band went on a tour when I was in my early 20s. And we went all the way to California. And some shows we'd have a couple hundred people. And then other shows would be just a bartender.
I've been in the room when it's been like me and a bartender,
Yeah.
and I'm kind of like, why does the band play still? Like, is it like good practice for them?
Some big producer walks in.
Oh, yeah. Some big producer. That's what I meant.
Well, you get free drinks either way, depending on if it's one person listening
Yeah.
or 100.
Yeah, it's a good point. Did it feel like a horror comic book though to you?
It felt like a Twilight Zone episode.
That's a better-
He played the coin as a pick for his guitar.
Which, by the way, I don't think is possible.
it's possible, but it sounds like shit.
I think it is possible. I think you could
I used a
probably
cat for a pick one time.
you could probably pluck a string with a coin.
Yeah.
A bass, I think you could. I think a guitar would be.
So you're just saying you would shred your strings.
yeah, they'd like
Yeah.
rip apart.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you don't have a magical coin that has an eyeball in it, so. And it was the 70s, man. It was a different time. They
Yeah.
did things a little
Just
bit
give me that
differently.
nickel instead of a pick.
Yeah.
And
So, was it a horror? No, I don't think it was a horror. I think it was just kind of a more demented Twilight Zone.
Eerie mind fuck.
but it's like okay, I love Chip, so I'm not like dissing his comic. But for me, I'm like, okay, like he's getting good shit. When's this gonna go bad? Oh, he lit himself on fire and
Oh
burned.
yeah. He spontaneously combusted because he was shredding the guitar so hard.
And he couldn't stop.
But the cool part was he killed an entire club full of people because he was rocking so fucking hard while he was bursting in flames
right.
Disco, right?
that like people couldn't leave.
They wouldn't. They were like, I gotta watch this, and then
Yeah, they all
I've been
burned
there.
alive.
I've been there.
And
you were at that
sang-
Great White Show.
Oh God. I forgot
Oh
about
come
that.
on, that's not too soon or anything. It happened 10 years, 20 years ago.
It did, yeah.
I think the next issue with Kelly Thompson writing is more of a. This felt like more of like a monkey paw situation of just like, oh, you're this great rock god.
Totally.
However, you're going to kill yourself and all these people with your great powers.
Mm-hmm.
This next one seems like kind of a Friday the 13th chainsaw man in a mask
Ooh, I like that.
thing. So I don't know if they wished for, a fun summer, but
Yeah.
with this coin. But did you guys notice in the comic book, there's like a bird or a raven that accompanies this coin?
No.
Oh,
In every shot with the coin, there's like a bird either following it or in the background with it.
okay. The coolest part about this comic that I thought was similar to that, I guess, was like some of the stuff where it's like what's gonna carry on, like the bird.
Uh-huh.
But then also like it seems like the dad's kind of in on it or like knows something more about the coin.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So what we're saying is the mother of Guitar Guy leaves the coin in a box of her shit that she left behind because she left them.
Mm-hmm.
And they allude to the fact that her lucky coin basically helped her build the courage to fucking leave her family. And that was like the great thing that happened to her. Was she like woke up and was like, my life shit. I'm out of here. Bye.
Later.
And then passed the curse on to her son.
My
So,
husband's a bitch.
Cool mom, do you.
Well,
Go off, Queen.
I think that this comic book stole the show this week, with the exception of maybe Batman 107.
I had an A, a B, and a C comic for the 3 books we're covering.
Oh,
As like a grade level.
okay.
This was my B.
Completely agree. This is my B as well. This
Okay.
is not the pick of the week, although it's worth reading or investing in. This is one where it's like
I will
absolutely
I
have to read number 2.
I normally don't go for anthology comics, and
Mm-hmm.
I am 100 fucking % getting books 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
Oh, me too.
10.
I can't. I love Ed Brisson. I can't wait till Jeff Lemire does it.
I think it benefits it because with the anthology books that we have been covering with Haha and Ice Cream Man and many others, it's the same author and the same artist all the way through.
Yeah.
With this one,
Super
what I
fun
love about
device.
the unique take on it is every issue is a new writer,
Same artist, though,
which
which is,
oh my god,
I think is pretty rad to
Yeah.
see the same artist interpret different people's stuff.
And
It's
Michael Walsh
phenomenal
is
art.
awesome. I love his stuff.
yeah.
Okay, so speaking of other big books that were this week, we mentioned Batman 107.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. I haven't read it yet, but
Let me-
I think the core concept is like pretty insane.
Let me list to you the first appearances that happened.
Yeah.
There is first appearance of the Gardener,
Mm-hmm.
first appearance of the Instigator, a martial artist and a terrorist, first appearance of Madame Midas, the richest woman on Earth, first appearance of Kid Kawaii, a robot mercenary, first appearance of Brainstorm, a telekinetic, and first appearance of Razorline, a monster alien.
Where do they have time for Batman in this? Is he even in the comic?
They missed out on the Year of the Villain a year ago.
Are these like full appearances?
They have to be. Yeah, I think these are all first full appearances. I'm guessing all of those names I read are villains.
I would think so too. I'm most intrigued by Kid Kawaii. Based on name alone, that seems like something that is here to stay.
Yeah.
I would agree with you. He has the best name. The Gardener has probably been the one most talked about.
Yeah, is he working with Poison Ivy
Poison
or
Ivy?
something.
I believe it's a woman.
Okay. Is she working with Poison Ivy?
I don't know.
Does she just tend to Poison Ivy?
You know what? I think she's actually kind of in the vein of Clown Hunter,
Okay.
the gardener.
So yeah, it was a hot book. I feel like, I mean, I don't know.
Oh,
Is
that's huge. I feel like
You
this is
be
something that happens surrounding big first appearances a lot, that everyone anticipates the cyberpunk Molly. I always
Yeah.
call her the wrong thing.
Miracle Molly?
Miracle Molly.
Cyberpunk Molly.
Everyone like anticipates that book
Mm-hmm.
and pre-orders it, so they print a fucking ton of it.
Mm-hmm.
But no one speculates much about the issues surrounding it.
Mm-hmm.
So they're a lower print run, and then they have some other character connected
Yeah.
that pops up. Normally, when I know something major like that is coming, I pre-order the books immediately surrounding in case there's someone else introduced.
Well, and good job if you did it this time, because 106, I think, is the bigger book here.
I think the real winners here are the Riccardo Federici variants.
They're
so-
cool.
They look sick as shit.
So it does not look like this book is yet specking. So
No.
the general zeitgeist of this book is that these are characters that will likely have one-off
Mhm.
situations.
This is $8 if you include shipping, and this person sold 51 of them.
Okay. So it's
So,
at least,
yeah.
people desire
People are looking for it. Man, a lot of the variants listed. You're right. People are popping off on this sketch variant. Okay. Noted.
it. Well, we should have mentioned this before when we were talking about Matt Kint, but ENIAC #2 came out again.
Yeah, did you guys get your hands on a copy?
I had pre-ordered it.
I had pre-ordered it as well.
Same.
So
Is it Spec King?
a little bit.
Not as much as number one,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but
And
Which is
number
up-
one's dipped in a major way.
It
right?
went back up
Yeah.
today.
Did it really?
Today it went up to $200.
oh my god.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit.
Maybe I should sell my number one.
You
Oh
absolutely
my God.
should.
Yes.
So anyway, yeah, #2 came out. Most people didn't get it. You probably listening here didn't get it, unless you pre-ordered and knew to pre-order it.
And it's
So-
because Bad Idea doesn't want you to read it.
But also this week is Tankers, which we did an interview with 2 weeks ago from the author of that.
Robert Venditti.
Yeah. Book looks awesome. Robert Venditti was awesome.
Knows how to drive a tank.
Yep, gotcha.
Does, yeah.
Yep.
So Bad Idea is putting out good stuff.
Mhm.
Just hard to get.
Yeah.
Bad Idea knows how to drive spec, even if it's not their goal, as they stated.
Their whole thing
Which is
is
bullshit because that's exactly what they're doing.
their thing is to fight it, and they cannot have fueled it more.
Yeah, they poured gasoline.
God.
They meant to
So
bring they meant
weird.
to bring water, and they brought gasoline on accident.
No, they poured water on a grease fire.
Yeah.
Oops. Our bad.
We heard it was baking soda.
Well, I'm like, get these not first printings out. You remember that core concept of it was that we're going to do first printings for people who are like mega fans.
Mm-hmm.
And then anyone who wants to read the comic will be able to be on the same, I guess, level by getting something we'll just always print and always have enough of these not first printings.
Right.
I would love a not first printing of ENIAC so I can fucking read it. I'm not about to crack open a comic that might be worth $200 in my collection.
Or just release them digitally for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Give me a break. Yeah, if you're not trying to fuel spec, release a digital comic.
Also, like the not first printing. What are you combating? Third and fourth and fifth printing, is that really the problem?
No.
The third and fourth printings.
Only so recently has that been like a
thing.
speckable thing.
You're automatically putting it on a pedestal, naming it not a first print edition.
You're making the first print more.
Exactly. Do it like TKO
Spec-worthy.
does and just shows there are no first printings. They're all fucking the same. We print them the same day.
You're
There's
right.
no value.
It's just comics to read, you
Yeah.
fucking imbeciles.
I wish that a lot more of this were apparent when we talked to Robert Venditti about Tankers.
Totally. Yes.
Because I was like, so Robert,
Tell us about.
why'd you go to Bad Idea? And he was like, oh, I know those guys.
It's
So-
all my friends.
Yeah, it's all my friends. At the time, we had no concept of how fucking crazy it was going to get. And then we released the interview like a month after we recorded it. And it was like, ask him. Like, why the fuck aren't you asking this guy, like, how insane this is?
Hey, Robert, what the hell?
So it seemed like a cop-out that I didn't talk to him about it. But, like, it
We
was just
didn't
it was just the
know.
timing. Yeah, sometimes we record things way ahead of release dates.
Well, let's talk about another book, spoiler alert, likely the pick of the week. We're talking Geiger,
Geiger pick of the week.
pick of the week, on Image Comics by Jeff Johns, Gary Frank, and Brad Anderson, who are mostly all known for doing DC stuff.
Yeah.
Yep, Gary and Johns did Doomsday Clock,
Yeah.
which, love it or hate it, it exists.
The first book was not bad, and then it went downhill
the
very quickly.
first issue of Doomsday Clock ripped.
Yeah. And then the next issue came out 2 years later, and then the following issue came out 6 years later, and then
And so it might have been good, but it left people being like, what happened last? What am I reading?
yeah,
Do you remember? Did Sandman show up in the first one?
Oh, they did. They alluded to like that there would be
Some weird tie-in with these
Yeah.
other like
Yep.
deep
Well, that's
Vertigo characters or something.
Doomsday
and then-
Clock was like crossover before crossover.
Yeah.
it was.
But then they never paid it off.
well,
I
you
don't
know
think
why?
it ever happened
Because
again.
they got rid of Vertigo.
Yeah, right.
And
But
so,
it would have been perfect because then they just swallowed Vertigo into DC. Right.
Right. I
Yeah,
think the whole thing was like the Dreaming was going to be.
because his mask was in there,
Yeah.
or something, and you're just
Uh-huh.
like, oh fuck, what the hell's about
Oh,
to
it
happen
was
with
in the
this?
background of the store, is what it was. I remember that.
So
Is that right?
it never came to fruition.
Yeah.
Okay.
A decade later, nothing happened.
Oh, I've got blue balls for Sandman in DC. I want him to talk to Bruce.
Geiger is just your straightforward apocalyptic book. Right? I mean,
Yeah, it's.
I mean, this book is great. By saying straightforward apocalyptic book, that is not a diss.
Kind of like Hulk mixed with apocalyptic. Like, what if the thing that turned the Hulk into the Hulk ended life in America as you know it?
The other thing this book does is it does what every first issue should do, is it gives you a light brush stroke of some characters that you're going to see and says, tries to sell you on them.
Uh-huh.
And it sold me on the Joffrey character
yeah.
that it had. It essentially has a king that is the Joffrey of Las Vegas.
I want to get into the Vegas stuff right away.
Do it.
They lead you to believe that the however many years that have transpired since this event that turned America into a wasteland and turned this guy into like a nuclear superhero sort of thing, that the world has gone back to like feudal dark ages and people are like answering to kings and living in like castles and shit. And then you find out that they basically just set up shop in Caesar's palace, but use it as a literal castle. That was like such a good reveal.
And I think you're also going to find out that it's fiefdoms. Like, he's only king of Vegas, but that his like
Yeah.
rulership doesn't extend much further out of that. If Jonathan Hickman was writing a apocalyptic book, it would be like, here's the maps, here's all the places, here's all the things like you need to know, and like all this kind of stuff.
Here's a graph that may be essential, but could also be throwaway.
Right.
But also, I just learned Excel.
Read all of it.
Yeah.
And like, this is just like, here's a little window, just kind of follow this
Yeah.
thing. Don't really know how big it is, doesn't really matter. Great stories. And like, I was bought in. It blew me away. I think I know why the book was so enthralling to me, is that it wrote with space in mind. It had room to breathe, and it never bored you. A lot of first issues will be like, name, place. Hey,
Yep.
like, we got to set it up. This didn't bother with that. It just made you stare at the page throughout the entire book.
Yeah.
So,
Greg,
Yes,
did you read Geiger?
I did. I didn't like it
That's what I was wondering. 'cause you've been
because
quiet.
because you guys were gushing about it, and I didn't want to be the sourpuss of the group.
Yeah.
I've read this.
don't
book.
worry, I'll cut out whatever you say about
Yeah,
it.
I've read this book. It's called Undiscovered Country.
Oh no, disagree.
And this is it's a kind of the same premise in my mind. It is a wasteland of America with gangs roving about with
Well,
mutated creatures.
Did you continue on Undiscovered Country?
Yeah.
Because Undiscovered Country seems to me to be about like more about political Cold Warness,
hmm
whereas like this is survival. Here's the thing. I don't disagree with you that it's like doing a lot that's different from post-apocalyptic books.
hmm
The main difference here is like that there's a Hulk, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I like that there's a straightforward superhero.
I do like that the main lead is an Arab man. I think that's kind of a unique take. We don't really see that in many comic books. So I will pay it kudos there, but it wasn't my pick of the week. But yes, I did read it.
You're gonna go with Patron? Patron?
For my pick of the week? No.
So then would you go Silver Coin?
Out of these three, yeah, I would say Silver Coin was.
Yeah, I'm not gonna hate on you for picking Silver Coin.
Okay. I think our A, B, and C are the same then.
Yes, I would assume so.
Mhm.
So one book that we are not covering, though, is worth mentioning, though, is Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
Went over from IDW to Boom Comics.
Mm-hmm.
Did you read this?
No,
Did you purchase it?
I did. I have to. It has a 1 on it.
Yeah.
Yes, we're addicted to it. Do you remember buying these like watercolored comic books when you were a kid to get like a card in them?
Yes.
Yeah,
From KB Toys, I bought them.
you did.
Yep.
Do you still have like one sealed with a card in it?
I think I gave them all to you. I had 2.
You gave me your cards. Okay,
I had them still sealed, and I think I gave them to you. If I didn't, then I still have them.
We need after this. Let's go check in the
Yeah.
box and see
All
if
right.
you did, because I don't remember that.
And then he's going to take them.
Give me
Then
that right
now. I'll
now.
take them. I will take your fireball.
Black Lotus, I'll take that.
So here's I still play Magic the Gathering. I'm up on it.
Nerd.
I have been since I was in middle school, which is a long time. And this is uninteresting to me. The only interesting thing to me about it.
Brutal. I mean, if there's one person who should be interested in this, it is you.
100%.
Did you
Yeah.
read it?
I did read it.
Okay.
I'll give you my thoughts on it. The interesting thing to me about it is I love Boom, and I think Boom is one of the best business people in the comic book industry.
Mhm.
So I'm kind of like, what are they doing here that I don't see?
Mm-hmm.
I also liked the author,
Jed McKay.
Jed McKay. So I was like, this is going to be cool and fun. Taskmaster, fun stuff, all that kind of stuff.
I know he normally does kind of silly comics. Tonally,
Yes.
where did this sit?
Okay, I will explain this to you, and it makes about as much sense to me as it does to you. It is set in a Magic the Gathering set 3 sets ago, Zendikar,
Okay.
and it,
The bustling metropolis of Zendikar.
which if you do play Magic the Gathering, or sorry, it's not set. I misspoke. It's
Is
in
Balzaron in it?
it's in Ravnica. I'm so sorry. It's
You idiot.
I said Zendikar and I meant Ravnica.
So it follows Milston and Vinden.
God. Okay. And most Magic players play for the strategy of the game and like the flavor. It's not certainly not the reverse.
So they're licking the cards.
Yes. The flavor being like all the shit around it and kind of the dragon stuff around it, all that kind of stuff. And so it's like here it's like, oh, we're getting the backstories of these random cards from a set 3 series ago, and I'm supposed to care about the world of Zendikar. Sorry, I keep on saying Zendikar. It's Ravnica.
Idiot.
Of Ravnica. I just think like, I don't know. I don't care. It and it's not interesting. And frankly, Magic for a long period of time has not done great at their storytelling. They have tried to revamp it. Brandon Sanderson wrote a book for them. They've like been doing better in the last 10 years, but it's still like it does not translate completely to the world because Magic is so fucking huge.
Yeah.
Case in point, one of my favorite things about Magic is that when they created the card, right, the back of the card, it looks so shitty.
They haven't
right?
changed it still,
They can't change the back of it.
because then you would know what other cards from
You
other
know what
decks.
set you're
You
getting.
know
yeah.
what the back is, right? And so, like, it's funny how it's like they just didn't know what they had at
Yeah.
the time. And the same thing, like, first Magic, right, doesn't start with this shit.
Mhm.
So that's the funny thing about Magic is, like, you're getting the stories of people who, like, put stories into Magic the Gathering. It was just a really smart guy, like, literally Mensa smart guy, being like, I wonder if I could put chess into, like, card fantasy game.
Yeah.
Adding the
So
story.
you know the cool guy at the party.
Yes, the life of the party. So yeah, I don't know. It follows some planeswalkers. They're trying to be assassinated. I don't know. If I cared about Planeswalker, I think that Jed wrote a good book. I don't give a shit about this book. The art was fun.
I feel like what Image should have done is been like, hey, we've got this book called Die, and we can call it Magic the Gathering instead, and
Be done with it.
and cash in some checks, dude. Way more people would have read it if it was a Magic the Gathering book, and it's so good.
Yeah.
And that's honestly, there's like some funny ass, like weird kind of characters in Magic that they could have just made it follow and be weird and be like loosely Magic.
Yeah.
and people would have been way more into it.
Like, I love the touch of outsiders or like people in our world controlling characters in another world, like some sci-fi
Oh, like
element
players,
where you've like entered the game.
like Yu-Gi-Oh style. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would have been fun.
I think that would have been
They
pretty
could have
cool.
done anything but actually try to dip into the world, and it would have been fun.
Yeah, right.
So, like, I just don't know that true Magic the Gathering nerds give a shit
I
about
want
this
to.
guy.
Yeah, they want to play the card game.
Yeah.
Yep.
If this was around Marvel, Magic the Gathering, people would probably be like, "Oh, cool. Like, I guess, like, let me go pick that up."
Mm.
But like to go find it on an independent, like, I just don't know that they're gonna care enough.
Yeah.
So,
You've been playing Magic for a long time now. Which is your favorite deck?
deck or series.
Oh, touche.
That I
You know where our knowledge stops.
What's the difference?
Okay, so like,
Oh, here we go.
so series.
Thanks, Greg.
Yeah, sorry. Bye, everybody.
Series are like the card base of like 150 cards that come out roughly every 4 months. And so like people would tell you like what is your favorite like, time to have played, and like mine's probably Lorwyn, I think.
Yeah.
Did you just want me to say words and you laugh at them? Like is that what this game is?
That's why I'm here. Remember that quiz I made you take?
Yeah, I don't know. The favorite deck I like to play mono black control.
Now, is it because it has like stronger cards in it, or like the story's better, or?
Oh yeah, you're good. This is a good question.
Yeah. Well, I play Pokemon,
I know.
so I know that there's different
And
card
you,
sets.
you've dipped in Magic too.
No, God, no. I knew if I stepped into Magic,
You
I'd be
act
done
like you're a
for.
virgin magicer, but I know you. I 100% about just the gameplay of it. Nothing to do with this. I don't give a shit about the story.
Okay, because there are some decks that have like, they're just like fluff cards. They're just like to sell paper.
Yes,
So
there are cards that are fluff.
the
Well-
commons, if you will.
The commons have a place in what's called limited play. We don't have to get into it.
We can't get into it, or else
It's
Mike
not-
D will leave the room.
It is not worth it. You know what you care about? If you cared about what I said, there's 100 other podcasts that do that better than we do.
Yeah.
That's not what we're doing here. Magic the Gathering had a comic book. Don't read it. Don't even read it if you like Magic the Gathering, but do support Jed. He's a seemingly nice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll be writing the new Moon Knight on Marvel, so go read that.
I bought the bagged Magic the Gathering cover because I was nostalgic for old bagged Magic the Gathering
And
covers.
he won't open it.
And well, now I really don't have to open
Oh,
it.
do not read that at all.
You're staying bagged.
Yes. That's not even a review. Technically, we're going to talk about a book now called Project Patron, which every time you see that word, do you want to say Patreon?
I do.
Project
Yeah.
Patreon.
Yeah.
And boy, this book would have been great if it was about a
Patreon.
Patreon account.
What could have been?
It's a crowdfunded superhero.
This is an Aftershock book by Steve Orlando, and when looks like a superhero book, Superman book, and when you get an independent book with a superhero cape, it's not gonna be straightforward Superman guy.
Oh yeah, I love the whole concept of a commentary on superheroes.
Please give it to me.
What makes the super?
I love these New York guys who are just contemplating about superness.
That's what editors do.
Just give me something super. So so you see this book, something's up. The thing that's up is they
If
have
it's up, then it's up. Then it's up, then it's up.
they've mechanized it so the I don't even know. The superhero is controlled by 4 different people.
Here's what happens. There is a superhero, and he dies. But to keep up the allure that the superhero is still alive, to make the general public still feel safe, they make him into a robot that can be controlled by 5 different people who have 5 different abilities that make it ready for any situation.
Voltron.
I mean, kind of, but they don't group up into one
You're right.
big robot.
They're like when we need caring, we put caring guy here. When
Yeah.
we need strength, we put strength
Yeah.
guy there.
oh, a building's on fire, send Steve in the power suit, and he'll be able to do whatever.
Right.
Yeah, you get put in like an orb and hooked up to tubes, and then
Yeah.
the robot becomes essentially your avatar.
Yeah, it's really, yeah, exactly
Right.
like Avatar.
Steve Orlando has been whiffing recently.
Oh my.
I thought his TKO book was
I want to like Steve Orlando
me too.
really bad.
I do too. I want to like Commanders in Crisis,
Yeah,
and I just didn't after the
it's hard. Have you Have you read many?
I read the 3.
I read 4.
After 2, I was like, I don't know if
It's
I can.
tough.
Yeah. And so I feel like what he's doing is he's like, I have a concept, and I know comic books really well. I'm gonna put that concept into comic books, and it lacks a little bit of like
Heart.
maybe heart, yeah, or like it like gripping. Like I don't know that the characters are there for me to care.
Mm-hmm.
The characters feel like comic book characters for sure, like characters I've read.
There are many characters in all of his books that he's been putting out recently. Maybe that's the problem. He spreads the net
Introduces too many
too
people.
wide.
Mm-hmm. He's talented, but this book did not land for me.
His ideas are too big.
Okay.
Sure.
Commanders in Crisis, huge idea.
Too big.
Huge idea.
And Commanders in Crisis in general, it's such a cool idea because it just is like presidents from different time periods are now superhero crime fighters. That's a cool idea.
And they're on the case of a serial criminal killing abstract concepts. Like someone has like killed empathy, and they're
Right.
trying to solve the murder of empathy by being like superhero detectives, but a team of them.
And then add horny.
Yeah,
There's an undertone of horny
And
in the
layers
book.
of like lies and deceit. I mean, I could tell you Commanders in Crisis is about 4 different things, and I'd be right on all 4 of them. You're like, smash those 4 ideas for comic books into one comic. You're just like,
Aha.
holy shit.
I'm a genius.
All of those are the same thing. This is another one, I think, where it was just like too many people, too many ideas, all shoved together. I think if someone explained to a normal person in the world of Patron what was happening, you would sound like a truther who was like, you know, the deep state is actually controlling the Superman of our world, and you know, he's just a cog in the wheel for the war machine of America.
In the
who's-
basement of that Pizza Hut, Hillary Clinton has constructed a way to take the Capitol to the moon.
Okay, have you guys been watching the HBO?
Oh, I need to watch it.
Is
Is it good?
good?
What,
It
HBO
looks
what?
good. The preview of it looks like so enticing. He's talking about this QAnon ongoing series.
Oh, I've seen the preview for that.
Yeah, let me tell you what it's good at doing. It's good at explaining 4chan and 8chan, and it's such an abstract idea to me. And this thing did such a good job of like contextualizing like the history of all these things, why they exist, the
Oh
people
God, I
that
have to watch this.
the people that run them. It follows a lot of people who are like Q YouTubers. Everyone is such a character.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? And you're
Yeah.
just like, how did all these people find each other?
That's
It's
every
just bonkers.
every documentarian's dream.
yeah,
Oh,
right.
Is to find something more interesting than the
Like-
concept that they had
Yeah,
originally.
every step you take, it just gets crazier. So this guy was already making a documentary about something else when Q stuff started to emerge, and so he's going down this path and then just diverges at like a hard 90-degree angle into QAnon.
Oh, we're going here right now.
And so
fuck yeah.
he's like really saddled up to people because he's like gained the trust of the people who like run 8chan, like before every news media outlet was trying to get their hands on these people.
Okay, this is awesome. You sold me.
So I know of 4chan because I thought that's where like memes originated and like the meme culture and just like incels hung out.
Yeah.
What in the fuck is 8chan?
You're going to have to watch the documentary. I
Okay.
do not have time for that here.
Okay, because it's double of 4chan. So in my caveman brain, it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, double the memes.
They explain the whole thing. There's a site called 2chan that was a predecessor of it. They explain all that.
Okay.
8kun, N-chan.
How many chans there are?
There's like a bunch of like, and
Yeah.
I think there's a 2 something, right?
2chan was the original.
2chan. Okay.
2chan.
There's a 6 something.
I'm going to 32chan. I'm gonna start it right
Hell
now.
yeah. So anyway, that's Project Patron that we were covering at
we
some point.
think.
And I don't know. I like Aftershock, but Aftershock, man, I'm always 50-50 with their books.
Yeah,
And
I've been so into Aftershock that anytime they have a first issue now, I buy it. And they've kind of been slipping for me recently. There was a while where I was like, Aftershock cannot be stopped. just like hit after hit after hit.
I think
After a walk through hell, and
yeah.
there was like a year straight where I was like, man, these first issues rip.
Well, wasn't like Baby Teeth on there and
Yeah.
Dark Ark?
I was gonna say
and-
Dark Ark, which is one of the first books we ever covered on the show.
Yeah, still going, by the way.
That's crazy.
Baby
isn't it?
Teeth, still going, by the way.
Animosity.
Yep.
I don't know if that's still going, but yeah,
Um,
Animosity was phenomenal.
So Aftershock has hits, but then I think they just sometimes pull in. I mean, here's the thing: Steve Orlando comes to you and says, "I'll do a book on you." We'll be like, "Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
fine."
do a book on me, Steve. Let's
And
do this.
Right, they publish it on me, baby. But it's just I don't know, whatever. I think this book's gonna slip under the radar and be forgotten.
I think so too. I'm a fan of Steve Orlando.
hmm
I just have a hard time with some of his books. Is all I'm saying right now.
I hated the name of the book from the get go.
me too.
And that
I-
put me on the bad foot.
I also
into
just
this
don't
book.
want to see a white blonde superhero, even if you're gonna give me depth later on a cover. I'm just like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Do not sleep on Geiger. Don't pay attention to what Greg said.
If it even makes the episode.
I think what I love about this is what is Jeff Johns brought to DC. He put in an independent book. He made it like very enticing and fun and exciting to read.
Yeah, I can't wait for the first arc of this to be done and see what they open up the whole like Vegas thing into.
Yeah.
Super intrigued. I mean, not a lot happened in the first issue. You just got an idea that the world was
Bigger than you thought.
about to get a lot more interesting. Yeah.
Is he crushing those cars for his house himself in Geiger?
No, he must have like a compact because they're like perfect squares.
That's what I'm saying. I was just like, that's interesting. If he
Or-
has like superhuman strength.
Or he's got a really flat rock he bangs them up against until they're perfect squares.
him and his two-headed dog.
Yeah. We didn't even mention the two-headed dog. Great indie comics have great pets.
That's a good point. Yeah,
Mhm.
you're always gonna have.
He's got a sidekick.
We're gonna step over to the Patreon. We got lots of cool things over there. As usual, we are indebted and thankful to Primary Color Music, the recording area of the Moon, and you, the listener, for coming and lending us your ears.
Bye.